A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to today's news analysis. We are doing the Indian Express papers, Chandigarh edition. You can see the topics that we're going to cover has been mentioned over here. Of this, the third point that you can see is important. In the G20 summit that will be taking place, India will be showcasing its art and culture. So important arts, important artifacts from different parts of the country would be showcased. So how it is important for us? We get names of, let's say, some Kandhara art is there, or bronze sculptures from the Chola period. So these topics we get, these we can prepare it. Okay, so I've shared this on the Telegram as well. So there also you can find out the topics and prepare or read more about those topics individually. Then, with reference to the G20 that is taking place, Prime Minister Modi and President Biden would be meeting. So here we'll be learning about the key priorities between these two countries. Rest, what was interesting was reference of sandbox regulatory approach. So that also we will be seeing. This is important. I feel you should prepare more on this topic. Okay. Now coming to the front page, so you can see this article on Modi-Biden table, right? So as I told you, the G20 meeting will be taking place, and here the leaders of the head of the states of 20 nations minus China, Xi Jinping is not coming, so they'll be meeting. So here Prime Minister Modi will have a bilateral engagement with the President Biden of the US. And most likely with Saudi Arabia also, we will be doing the same. So we'll be discussing small nuclear reactors, jet deal, easing of visa, and joint aid for Ukraine. Nothing has been explained over here, elaborated. So we have to come to the second page to read it. So first topic that is mentioned is nuclear cooperation. So US and India had a civil nuclear deal by which it was agreed that US would help India get nuclear supplies, nuclear fuel, nuclear reactors, technology, etc. Right. So under this, now they are hoping to construct new nuclear reactors. So 6 nuclear reactors would be constructed. Plus, they'll be working on creating small nuclear reactors or modular nuclear reactors. So this may be used within the country, within India, or it may be exported out to other nations, exported to third countries. Fine. So that is one topic. Now there is a big issue between India and USA when it comes to cooperation in the nuclear department, nuclear field. The issue is of the civil nuclear liability. In the year 2010, India passed the parliament passed the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. So as the name goes, if there is a nuclear incident take place, so the liability, what would be the liability, who will compensate the people who are affected? So all that is provided for this. So what is the problem India has, or USA has with it? So the thing is that this law says that, let's say there is an agency that is running the nuclear reactor and then supplying electricity. So the nuclear is here. Any accident that takes place will take place over here. Okay. Now this nuclear reactor may be built by the US, by Russia or any other country, or maybe in partnership with a US-based firm and an Indian company. Now, according to the Civil Nuclear Liability Act, which is there, it says that in case of a damage, in case of a nuclear incident damage, there will be liability of the operator of the reactor, as well as there will be a no fault liability. No fault liability. It took me some time to understand this term, no fault liability, based on the law of torts, which basically implies that the agency which has supplied the nuclear reactor, they will also be held responsible. So those who have provided the technology, etc., they will also be held responsible. Although they are not running the reactor, so they are not at fault, but still they will be liable. So that is the issue. Second issue is, if there is a liability, we do not know what would be the extent. Nuclear reactor may cause a lot of damage if that happens. So we do not know what would be the limit extent to which the compensation would be required. So there is a need to set a limit that over this you don't have to pay up. Over this the government shall pay. So that is also a issue. So here for the people who are supplying the technology, etc., or supplying the reactor, so they say that even for design and patent flaws, if any flaw is found, then also they'll be held responsible. Okay. So this is a issue. So they are saying that we are going to work on this issue. Next is cooperation in the jet engines for the fighter planes. So already when our Prime Minister was in US, there was an agreement that US would be supplying us General Electric's F414 engine. General Electric company, this engine, which is a very good engine, which is supplying the engines for your F-18 and the important fighter planes of the US. So same would now be powering the Tejas aircraft. So that deal has already been done. Now what they're saying is that US shall hasten the supply and development of these jets for India. Now in line with this, they should also be providing more technology. They'll be transferring more technology to Indians than what was decided. So that is also something that is being discussed, because once we have the technology, we can make our own engines. Now USA wants us to sign, and we are negotiating security of supply arrangement and reciprocal defense procurement agreement. I would not want you to go deeper into this because I did try this. So here it is. So I would say the easiest way is just go by the term that is mentioned, security of supply arrangements. So you can imagine a scenario. Let's say there is from wherever you are buying military equipment, let's say from US, India is buying from US. So USA commits that yes, they will be providing no matter what. And in case of emergency, more so. And reciprocal defense procurement agreement means India is buying something from US, US shall buy something from India. So I think just keep it simple. You'll be better off. Nobody is really going to ask you to define these things. Okay. Now again, with reference to defense, we wanted these armed drones, these advanced high-tech military drones which could fire missiles. So we had a deal previously about the MQ-9B drones. So this again will be saying, okay, fine, hasten the supply of these drones. Plus we want this company, General Atomics, to open its MRO facility. MRO means Maintenance Repair Organization, MRO, Maintenance Repair Facility in India. And by the way, it is the General Atomics company which makes these drones. Then coming to the next one. One is the liberal visa regime. So Indians who go to US, so liberal, they should be getting the visas easily. And then offering of STEM courses, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So the STEM courses should be there. So if an Indian is going there, they should have an option to work there in the US for some time. So that option should also be there if they wish, or come back to India. And lastly, with reference to the Ukraine war, so there is US and India. US has been providing aid in the form of military hardware, while India has been providing humanitarian assistance. Now they're saying how both countries can collaborate in providing aid with reference to the Ukraine-Russia war, and basically how US and India can work on humanitarian aid. So that is the focus. Okay, so this basically tells us about the priorities of India and USA. These are the more important topics. China will be absent from, Xi Jinping would be absent. He'll not be representing the G20 main summit, the head of the state summit. Xi Jinping will be represented by Li Kiplang, who is the premier, who is junior to Xi Jinping. So there is this problem. Now, why is this an issue? Because all of the head of the states are there, but the head of the state of the second largest economy is not there. China is not there. Now, with the absence of Xi Jinping, it will be difficult to have a consensus. After the G20 summit takes place, there will be a joint statement that is coming out. So consensus building will be difficult because Xi Jinping was not there. The head of the state of China was not there. Then it is possible that Xi Jinping is distancing himself from India also, in the sense that there is some dispute going on between the two countries. So that may be a reason. The second is that distancing with the West-led bloc, who's talking about the rules-based order, right? So there is a tension between US and China. So Xi Jinping is avoiding it. So even President Biden of USA has expressed his disappointment. Okay, now coming to the next article. Chandrayaan-3 lander. What is the name of the lander? Vikram. It hops on moon, marks big leap for ISRO. Okay, so we heard previously that there is going to be a 14-day night on the moon, right? The side of the moon where this lander and rover are there. So they were to go to hibernation. But just before the hibernation, they conducted an experiment. So the Vikram lander, which was landed and resting on the moon, it was made to jump about 40 centimeters, 30 to 40 centimeters from the surface of the moon, and then it safely landed again. Right, so this experiment this did. Now this is important because tomorrow, if they say that this lander is there, they want this lander to come back to India, right? To come back to the Earth. So for this exercise is required. It showcases the takeoff capability of the lander. So tomorrow they'll be able to maybe get samples from the surface of the moon, or it may help, having a human spacecraft, putting people on the surface of the moon and getting them back safely to Earth. So for those experiments, this was very, very critical. Okay. Next, we come to this topic of stubble burning. Now, yeah, so Punjab, Haryana region, this northwestern belt, there is this issue of stubble burning. So now what I have done is, it is telling us about Punjab, but what I have done is I have mentioned all the important points that are possible to deal with the issue of stubble burning. The Punjab government is basically focusing on supplying machines, which will be removing the stubble from the farm fields. That is one of the solutions. There are other solutions as well. So I'm mentioning that, take it as a revision. Okay, so let's see the measures that are possible. So one is supplying these machines like super seeder machine, smart seeder, happy seeder machine, name 2, 3, right? That's fine. Now these machines are obviously expensive. So for this, the farmers shall be given subsidies, which is happening. The subsidy may be given. They can also focus on custom hiring model, that when a farmer needs, at that time, custom hiring shall be done. They can rent the machine, they can work, and then again return it back. So that is one approach. Now, what do you do with the stubble that is there? We have to focus on the residue management. When after harvesting, you've taken out the wheat, so whatever is left, the straw that is left, that is the residue. So how do you manage the residue? So one easy solution would be make fodder bank, make cakes of these which can be eaten by the animal or can be used as a fuel or could be used for mulching exercise, right? So any of this. Or what we can do is we can process this further and convert this into ethanol. This will be second generation fuel. It is not directly coming out, so you're basically using the straw and converting it into ethanol. So that may be done. And ethanol, we all know it can be blended. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Then transgenic crops may be used. So varieties which can yield faster. So it's recommended that we should use Pusa 121 type of paddy, which takes 120 days to mature, instead of the present Pusa 44, which requires 160 days. So if we use Pusa 121, we get 40 days time to clear the stubble before the cultivation of the Rabi crop. Center should declare Himachal calamity as a national disaster, which it is actually. Okay. 250 people have died. There is a lot of destruction of property because of the landslide, etc. So it should be declared as a national disaster. So same thing, Xi Jinping not to attend Premier Li shall be attending, leading the China team, will arrive from Jakarta. Right. So why is he in Jakarta? That is important. So he's in Jakarta because in Jakarta there is the East Asia Summit. You know, East Asia Summit was asked in Prelims 2014 it was asked. So let's read about the East Asia Summit. So yeah, so it's a regional forum, East Asia as the name goes. You know what happened in that question? India was mentioned. Which of the following are members? India was one of the options. So people guessed that East Asia means east of Asia. So India shall not be, but India is also a member of East Asia Summit. So let me open this Wikipedia page. So East Asia Summit is basically ASEAN plus 6. ASEAN plus 6 other countries. The one that is marked in this blue color are the original members. So this also includes India, Japan, South Korea. North Korea is not there. You can see from the map. Later on, Russia and US were also added. Right. By the way, New Zealand is also there. New Zealand, Australia. So all these are your original members. Next, millet by millet, busy trip for leaders, spouses. This millet topic is repeated multiple times. So basically, this G20 leaders are coming to our country. Their spouses will also be coming, their wives. So they are being sent on a trip where they are visiting the villages, etc. And they'll be showcased how traditional crops like bajra, jowar, etc. are being cultivated, how their dishes are. So they'll be made to taste. All those things are there. By the way, although I have mentioned in the economy section, because again millets is mentioned, this question, there was a question asked in mains 2018 on millets. I'm sharing this question now. So question was asked in 2018. But just a second. This is Mrunal website. Yeah. How has the emphasis on certain crops brought about changes in cropping patterns in recent past? Elaborate the emphasis on millets production and consumption. Okay. So fine, is that you can prepare. Now I'll tell you these things are very difficult when it comes to the mains paper. I'm going to tell you this thing now. when we prepare, like we had the habit of doing this answer writing programs, insights, and all those things. So you get a lot of this current. But when you look at the previous years of the paper, such questions are asked, and we are often thinking as to how to address this. So you have to focus on these side of things as well. And yeah, so millets production, this is the main, this is what insights may help you, but not with this thing. So I used to do that insights thing again for my practice back then. This is 2018 mains question. And the reason why the question had come, because millets, International Year of Millets, that was declared by the India's diplomacy. NGMA, Delhi's National Gallery for Modern Arts, they will be exhibiting India's civilizational prowess. India's ancient arts, artifacts, etc., will be showcased over there. So again, this will be inaugurated by spouses of the G20 leaders. Okay, so let's cover each one of them. So first one that is mentioned is the recent discovery of a chariot from Sanauli. Sanauli is in western Uttar Pradesh. Right, so this is dated to 4,000 years ago. So here there is a chariot that has been found. We don't know actually if it was before 2018, it would have been a bullock cart, but now we are calling it as a chariot. There is a bit of politics also that goes with all this, because nobody actually, the chariot is not there. We don't know what this is. This is what is found. Now, you can call whatever, but this is what has been found. And 4,000 BC would mean that, sorry, not 4,000 years ago would mean 2000 BC, early phase of Harappa civilization, early or mature phase of Harappa civilization. So this has been found, this is being said to be the chariot. It could be a cart also. I mean, bullock could be also pulling it. We don't know. We have not analyzed the animal fossil. So answer the question, because otherwise we haven't found horses over there. Okay, next. Now this chariot that has been found, it is believed that it has having some similarities with those unearthed in Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia means the Iraq region. So it is saying that the structure is similar to that of Mesopotamia. Okay. Next we come to the Gandhara sculpture. So Gandhara sculpture is mentioned. Chandigarh would be showcasing. It is borrowed from Chandigarh Museum, Gandhara sculpture. So Gautam Buddha and his curly hair is an example of Gandhara sculpture. This is again, you should have to prepare. It was asked in again mains 2018 GS1, and previously also it has been asked. All of this is part of GS1. Buddhist relics of Amravati. Amravati, it means we are talking about the Satvahana dynasty. So Buddhist relics of Amravati Stupa, and Amravati Stupa is also made of marble. So that will be brought about. A marble also will be showcased. Besides Buddhist metal sculptures of Nagapattinam, Andhra, and 2 Pahadi miniature paintings for the exhibition. Pahadi miniature paintings. So, yeah, so again, I think you should prepare this also. The Basoli Hills, Himachal Hills. So that's Kangra school of painting. So all of this comes under Pahadi miniature paintings. This also has to be prepared. Prelims also questions have been asked in the past. Like description of the painting art is given, and then it gives 4 options. Okay, moving on. Bronze, yeah, Chola bronze cast sculptures dating 10th to 13th centuries. So previously in 2014 mains, Chola temples were asked as how it was a majority of the Dravidian architecture. That question was asked. I always feel that a question may be asked on the bronze sculptures also. So we should look into this topic as well. Then Buddhist circuit has been mentioned. So there are these 7 sites associated with Buddha, which is now known as the Buddhist circuit. So this is it, right? So these are the things that have been mentioned. By the way, when I'm talking about Buddhist circuit, we can also talk about Ramayana circuit. So that is also there. So religious tourism, that is the term. Now we come to the editorial and opinion section. I'm not covering much of it today. Yeah, so we are having this G20 thing that has been discussed. Prime Minister's G20 diplomacy. Not a rubber stamp, one nation, one election. I have a lot of points. Actually, I don't want you to spend more time over this. The Grihastha Dharma, this Hindu customs have this ashramas, the culture of ashramas. So one of them is Grihast. So that is there. That's important for your art and culture, history also, GS1 point of view also. But other than that, nothing much. It's basically political. Hindutva's imagination of Vasudeva Kutumbakam is based on othering non-Hindus. So I'm not keen on doing this from exam point of view. Who is afraid of the basic structure? So the basic structure doctrine which came up, judicial innovation in the Keshavananda Bharti case 1973 and later elaborated in the Minerva Mills case. So that was the doctrine of basic structure. So it has put a restriction on the powers of the executive and legislature on amending the constitution. They say you can amend anything, but at the same time, you cannot change the core values or the basic structure of the constitution. So that has been, that is there, but again, we don't have to read so much to cover this topic. Again, one nation, one vote, simultaneous elections are discussed, points in favor, right? He was a minister. Okay. So let's just cover this for the time being, the G20 dividend. So G20 summits are very mundane, routine activities every year that take place. But this time, we all can see G20 summit has been a very, very big, it's like a festival, how we have gone with the G20. And we know it is Prime Minister Modi's initiative. Now, traditionally, G20s would take place in the state capitals, in the country's capital. But in this case, several G20 summits have been done, and so 200 meetings have taken place across 60 countries. And it has been done in such a way that we can say that it has brought diplomacy to the masses. The masses have been engaged. Right? 60 cities is a big number. So it's not like it's happening in Delhi alone, but it is happening across, and over the year it has been happening. So he's been able to take diplomacy to the masses. We can put it that way. So that is the G20 dividend. It is not just presiding it, doing the formality, but it's gone way beyond this. Nobody imagined it could be done this way. It's on appreciation, actually. Okay. Now, by doing this, India has been able to showcase its prowess, its civilizational prowess, its soft power prowess. Imagine the millets wives would go to the villages, showcasing the culture. Right? So every possible way we are showcasing it, and somewhere it develops a goodwill at a very subconscious level. Then this exercise is not limited to central Delhi. It's been spread across the country. So that is again a good thing. Now, this has been so much so that other countries have said that we cannot keep up with what India has been doing. So we will keep it as a normal, mundane affair. Now, this line seemed important. Delhi's careful navigation of the Ukraine crisis without displeasuring either Russia or the West, and its willingness to stand up to Beijing on the border has only highlighted India's rising strategic salience with realignment of the great power relations. I think it is Mr. Raja who has written this editorial over here on behalf of Indian Express. Okay, as it's his language. Fine, so this you can quote in your answer writing as well. So the G20 is taking place. We were expecting to take sides between Russia and the West. We have been able to manage that well. At the same time, we have taken up, we have seen the pressure from Beijing. We have been able to resist it also. Now coming to the international news. Putin says, Russian president, that we will not renew the Black Sea grain deal. You now should be knowing what is the Black Sea grain deal. So, right, Russia, Ukraine allows for exports of grains from their country to elsewhere. So they will not allow till the time the West meets his demands. That demands are very simple. Ukraine should not be part of the NATO. Now don't supply arms and ammunition, revoke the sanctions. So all that. Zelensky replaces this defense minister, says new approach needed, plus the corruption cases were coming to light. So that is one reason. And one more thing I would say, which is not mentioned in the article, the West, those who are supporting Zelensky, Ukraine, they're not happy with Ukraine's counter-offensive strategy. They're saying that because of flawed approach, the war has been going on for a longer period of time. It was not to be. So they are not happy, military generals of the Western nations. So, and this is creating some sort of resentment of the West against Ukraine. Iran expands its uranium stock. UN watchdog says no progress. Okay. We'll go a bit in the past. Iran wanted to work on its nuclear program. That's fine. Several nuclear use of energy, several uses of energy. So that is a country's right. Now, the West had a concern that the nuclear fuel that they have may be concentrated or enriched to such a level that they will be able to make bombs and missiles out of it, which was a concern for the safety and security of the West Asian region. Plus, also it raises concerns that these guns, these weapons, nuclear things can go to the wrong hands of militants, etc. And we know Iran to be supporting the Hamas in Palestine, the militant group. We know them to be supporting the Houthis in Iran. So they do such things. Okay, so there is a concern. So as a result, during the Obama regime, previous regime of USA, they imposed a sanction on Iran. They said, you will not do this. They didn't want the enrichment to take place. Sanctions were imposed. Then the sanctions were removed. So this removal was coming under Joint Comprehensive JCPOA, right? So Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, something like that. It was between P5+1. So permanent member countries +1 is Germany. Then comes the Trump administration, and they again invoked sanctions. They removed this and again invoked sanction on Iran because they were again going into the enrichment program. Now with this reference, it was previously agreed in the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action that IAEA, the nuclear watchdog, which ultimately reports to the UN, although it is not part of the UN, it was supposed to have oversight about the nuclear facilities, the programs, etc. So in that regard, there is no progress. They do not know to what extent the nuclearization enrichment is going on. Next article. Israel Prime Minister pitches fiber cable link to Asia with Europe. I think that's good enough. Fiber cable link, internet connection from Asia to Europe. Undersea connection would be there. Now what we need to see is the map. So he's saying Israel is so that is Israel over here, and Israel would be first connected with Cyprus, which again is in Middle East and Europe. Right? So undersea cable would go from here to Cyprus. So these two were in news. I wanted to show you with the help of the map. Okay. Now it is saying that previously they also had electricity connection. 2000 megawatt of undersea electricity cable was also there, which was known as Eurasia Interconnector. Right. So it was connects Israel with Cyprus and Greece. Fine. So these two things are covered. Now in this article, there is a mention of Abraham Accords. They're saying that, see, Israel is connecting the Western Asia. Israel is connecting Western Asia, and further, if we go, we come to Europe. So this connection is there, fine, but this connection may be extended to further east to these nations also, the Arabic countries also. Right, that is the logical thing to do. But for that to happen, Israel should have normalized relationship with the West Asian countries. Israel and Arab nations are bitter rivals. And add to this Iran also. They are bitter rivals. So in a quest to normalize the relationship during the Trump administration in the year 2022, the US brokered Abraham Accords. In this Abraham Accords, Israel, UAE, and Bahrain, all Arab nations. So there is US, of course, Israel, UAE, and Bahrain. They decided to normalize the relationship. They decided to open consulates in each other countries, resume the consulates basically, diplomatic exercise. Now, in extension to the Abraham Accords, there was I2, U2. I2 is India was added basically. So India, Israel, UAE, US. Right. So now we come to the economy section. Now, before starting, let us look at the important rates and dollar rate as well as the oil rate. Now, moving forward. So the first article we are covering is why government rushed to ready an alternative to laptop licensing scheme. So previously we heard about a laptop licensing scheme that was to be applicable with immediate effect. So it said that if any laptop is to be imported, laptop or mobile or anything has to be imported, then a license is required. And it was said that it was targeting China. So if you read carefully, it reads, why rush to an alternative to this scheme? So this scheme was there. You recently announced it. Now they have brought in a new scheme known as Import Management System. So a new scheme has been announced, Import Management System. Now, why so? The reason is that when they came up with the scheme, licensing scheme, you see the term license is there. It is like you're going backwards. You're going in the pre-1991 era of the license Raj. And with the G20 summit going on where the leaders of the important countries would be there, they may criticize this move. It shows poorly, plus we are talking about ease of doing business, etc. So the term licensing doesn't look appropriate. So the new scheme now is Import Management System, which is basically a rebranded version. And this Import Management System is focusing on that is the laptop imported from, or is computer servers, etc. Are they imported from trusted geographies? And we do not trust China, right? They may be getting the critical data and using it for their own ulterior motive, maybe misusing it, or maybe cyber threats are there. So are we importing them from trusted geographies? Or these companies that are supplying, they are less dependent on the untrusted geographies. So that is the focus. So New Delhi, so one is that we have this concern, and the other thing is that we want to focus on domestic manufacturing. In a way, when we say that there is a restriction that you cannot import from untrusted geographies, all of them are coming from China, we know it. So it signals that you have to make it in India. So compound this with production linked incentive scheme. It makes a good combination. Now you can add one more thing over here. We are importing lots and lots of electronics from outside, mainly China. Right? We had this Galwan issue also. We are having the land border issues also with them. So reducing economic dependency on that country would be a good start. Inflicting an economic cost on them may be a good approach. So maybe that is the idea. At the same time, domestic manufacturing should be promoted. Okay. Previously, they had, for telecom also they did it, like for laptops and other hardware. They did it for telecom also. This was in 2021. So they came up with Trusted Telecom Portal. It was to implement the National Security Directive on Telecommunication sector, so that we have trusted products from trusted sources. As a result, the Jio, Bharti Airtel, etc., which were supplying that time we were having this broadband connections, etc. So not to use good things from Huawei and ZTE, Chinese-based company, rather have it from Ericsson, Samsung, etc. So they were exploring other options. Next article. RBI governor at the G20 Tech Sprint. So he's talking about three things: central bank digital currency, unified payment interface, and regulatory approach for innovative things in fintech companies. Okay, so first he's saying that the government is one of the few countries to have initiated the central bank digital currency. So this is now operational in e-rupee pilot form. So it's in pilot form. That is, not everybody will get those facility. It is only for limited few. They are experimenting, they are observing what are the challenges that come, and then it will be opened up for the general public. Right, so this is there. Now with the central bank digital currency, the governor is saying that it will facilitate international trade, cross-border payment settlements. So that will be eased with this. Okay. Personally, I'm telling you, I don't really understand the digital central bank digital currency, how it is different from the UPI payments that we do with net banking, etc. So let's see. But yes, I do have a video, and whatever I could gather from there, I have put it over there. Right. So content-wise, it's reasonable. So if you want to know more about it, you can read it. But there is a contradiction that personally I really don't understand the need for it. And once we have the digital mode of transactions, so I'm also waiting when this thing comes up, central bank digital currency. Actually, when it comes up, then that clarity will come. Okay, moving to the UPI thing. So 10 billion transactions are taking place in a month, says NPCI data, National Payments Corporation of India, which developed the UPI interface, UPI system. And the UPI has become backbone of payments in a country. Moving on. The RBI is saying that RBI is committed to promote responsible innovation and has taken steps regarding it, especially in the fintech sector, finance technology sector. So thing is that finance and technology, so new things would be coming up, new innovations would be coming up, and it's a very new sector, right? Like UPI is something very new. Now the regulator cannot say that, these are my requirements and you cannot go beyond this. That flexibility should be there, that these companies can innovate. But when innovation is done, it does risk. There is obviously a risk as to how it will be impacting the consumers and the system. There is obviously a risk. But we cannot stop that innovation that's saying that there is a risk. So the approach that has been following is the sandbox framework. Sandbox framework says that, let's say these are all the consumers. So a particular area is chosen. So that is the sandbox. So in this facility, the innovation is provided in the pilot way. The regulator also observe as to what are the issues and challenges coming up. So regulatory framework is also developed in the side by side, while innovation is also tested. So what is this doing is, it is containing the risk to this sector only and not allowing the risk to be spread to others. So it is limiting the risk exposure, but at the same time providing a platform for innovation to be done with the regulatory oversight. The regulator is also observing it. Now, sandbox framework, please we have to read this. I think we should prepare 150-word answer for this topic as well. So it means a security mechanism for separating and running programs, usually in an effort to mitigate system failures or software vulnerabilities from spreading. Right, so you can get anything definition, that's fine with us. So it's basically for the financial tech sector, fintech sector. Next news is government e-marketplace buys surge 80% in April, August. Fine. What is this government e-marketplace? Prelims and mains. Mainly prelims, sorry. No mains, only prelims. Government e-marketplace. Best way is visit their website and observe it. So government e-marketplace is essentially a platform whereby the government has a lot of needs, requirements, right? They may be needing computers, notebooks, buses, utility vehicles, pens, stationery items, right? So they need a lot of things. So they can post their requirements on the government e-marketplace portal. And whosoever is interested, they can put their quotation, and whosoever is the lowest based on the credentials, the government shall buy it. Fine. And when the government procures, there is a reservation for the MSME sector to promote the domestic manufacturing MSME sector. So that is also there. Now with this, what does this do? This brings in more transparency, right? So there is less red tapeism over here, nepotism. So those concerns are addressed. It's a clean form of transaction that takes place. So more transparency happens because of this. You have to register. So you can see all those things. It makes it very clear actually. So you can observe anything you want. It would put in your details. So it's a move towards transparency in governance, e-governance, right? So yes. Okay, so this is it. Recently, there was this controversial statement made by the son of the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu about Sanatan Dharma. Right, so we have these two statements over here. So you can read The Dravidian Ideology by Periyar, and Veer Savarkar. Today, by chance, I happened to watch a video. So I was watching the views of Devdutt Patnaik. So you may see that also. I didn't do this. I want you to read it, right? Invasive species and how it is costing the global economy. Toyota's flex fuel prototype. So let me tell you what is a flex fuel. Flex fuel is flexible fuel. So petrol mixed with ethanol. So according to the latest policy, National Biofuel Policy 2018, we want 20% of blending of ethanol with petrol. By the way, this topic has been covered in one of our videos on ethanol biofuel, so you may refer that also. So the basic benefit is that we will need less of petrol, because we are blending it with ethanol. So overall requirement will come down. Now petrol is imported, diesel is imported. So naturally, it will help save our foreign exchange reserves as well. It will help us save the current account deficit of the country. At the same time, ethanol will be coming from the farmers, the waste, whatever, from there it will be coming. So it will boost the incomes of the farmers, or we can say it goes in line with the objective of doubling farmers' income. Okay. Now, what is the effect on the automobiles which are running on flex fuels? So they're saying that with this, the mileage becomes low slightly, but acceleration increases, pickup increases. Okay, so that's it. Now we have the sports news, etc.